What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Fudge Muppet. Today I'm going to be taking you through our latest Skyrim build, the Arcane Adventurer. The Arcane Adventurer uses the Ordinator perk overhaul and will take advantage of the added enchanting perks which affect staves. Looking at the enchanting tree, you're going to be having every perk except Star Flux and Soul Siphon. This build won't be using any melee or archery based weapons. Looking at the most notable perks in the enchanting tree that the Arcane Adventurer will be using, we have 2 ranks of Last Word. This makes scrolls 4% more powerful or last 8% longer per level of enchanting. This means that when you have level 100 enchanting, your scrolls will be 400% more powerful or last 800% longer. This makes scrolls very useful and far more powerful than your base spells. Another perk we have is Staff Expertise, and this makes you gain a small amount of enchanting experience while using a staff in combat. The Staff of Authority perk makes spells of any school 30% more powerful or last 60% longer when a staff is equipped. It also makes destruction perks that enhance dual cast spells work on those spells. This incentivizes the whole staff spell playstyle. Basically, staves and scrolls actually become worth using by using this perk overhaul. The Preserver perk will mean that learning an item's enchantment will not destroy the item, and the perk Rods from the Gods will make staff enchantments 50% more powerful or last 100% longer if staffs are dual-wielded. The final perk in the tree is called Miracle, and this will let you place 3 enchantments on something that are 50% stronger, but you can only do it once in the game. We advise doing this on a ring. Alteration will also be used, and you're going to have every single perk except those in the Spellblade tree and the Monarch perk. Many of these perks are the same as vanilla Skyrim, but there are also new ones that allow you to do things like summon a magical anchor at the location where you learn this perk. We would suggest doing it at the College of Winterhold or your player home. This anchor makes you more powerful if you are within 5,000 feet of it, but more importantly, once you get the Dimension Door perk after it, you can summon a teleportation gate to take you to your anchor. There's even an alteration perk that means that enemies within 15 feet cannot regenerate magicka and stamina. We're also going to be using Destruction, and looking at the perks, we will be investing in the Shock Tree, the Counterblast perk, and the Robes of Power tree. This leads to a perk called Elemental Specialization, which allows you to choose an element to specialize in. This makes spells of your chosen element 30% more powerful, and makes the spells of the other 2 elements 30% weaker. In this instance, we're choosing to make shock spells powerful at the cost of making Frost and Fire a bit weaker. You're also going to get the Power is Mine perk, which makes you have a power which allows you to levitate for 5 seconds, and then an explosion blows away friend and foe, and you gain 25% destruction spell effectiveness per target struck for 20 seconds. That means if you hit 8 enemies with the power, you will get 200% destruction spell effectiveness for 20 seconds. You're also going to want the Speech skill, and you'll invest up the left in the Merchant tree. The skills, as you can see, are Enchanting, Alteration, Destruction, and Speech, and a perk link will be in the description for a non-Ordinator overhaul character. If you do use the overhaul, which is of course the idea for this build, you will actually end up at level 70 after getting all the perks we recommend. The other mods we're going to be using are the Apocalypse and Midas magic mods, and also the Immersive Armors mod. These 2 magic mods are going to give you a massive variety of new spells to add to your arsenal. You'll get spells like the Akado's Recital spell, which lets you store 3 spells in it which are casted for free when you enter battle. We're storing Ebony Flesh and Lightning Cloak, and the third option can be up to you. You'll also be getting the Long Stride spell, which makes you able to move faster. There are actually so many spells that you can use with this mod, so be sure to have a look through all of them. Immersive Armors will actually only be used for your cape, and this is called the Bosma Full Cape. You'll want to wear this with blue merchant clothes with the gold trim and the boots in the video, which can all be bought from Radiant Raiment in Solitude. This gives the character a nice colourful fruity aesthetic. You're also going to want to enchant your ring with the Miracle perk and an Enchanter's Elixir, choosing the 3 effects Magic Resistance, Fortify Magicka, and Magicka Regen. This is going to make the ring have 36% Magic Resistance, 92% Magicka Regen, and 92 more Magicka points. Be sure to enchant all your gear as well. You'll also want the Black Star from Azura's quest, and you'll use the Soul Trap spell for this, even though Conjuration is of course not a main skill of this character by any means. Your main spells are going to be Thunderbolt, Long Stride, Force Wave, and Paralyze, and this is benefited by the Sitting Duck perk in the Alteration tree. The staves you're using will vary and you can create your own. We've got a collection of staves for different circumstances, and also because our perks make them better than our spells. You'll definitely have a Destruction Staff and a Staff of Paralysis. Scrolls will also be used to cover other spells like those from the Illusion tree. Collect as many unique scrolls as you can, because like your staves, they too will be more powerful than your spells. This character is a very kitted out mage. He's an arcane merchant traveling the lands and selling his enchanted items. Looking at the backstory of the Arcane Adventurer, he was born in Valenwood and his family were wealthy merchants. He doesn't remember much of his life up until the age of 6, and this was when his family moved to Cyrodiil. They lived within the city of Skingrad and continued making lots of money running a massive general goods store. The store was successful no matter where it was set up, because it had absolutely everyone's needs covered. It often had even more magical gear than specialty mage shops. The Arcane Adventurer spent his childhood and teenage years working in the shop and enjoying a wealthy lifestyle. His favorite leisure activity was reading, and he enjoyed the books from the arcane section of the store. He would actually practice magic and over time developed a keen interest in enchanting. This interest was amplified greatly when the Court Wizard of Skingrad came to the store. The Arcane Adventurer asked him many questions and ended up convincing his parents to pay for private tutoring lessons. He loved magic and he also loved money, and he saw that he could use magic to make money. He would enchant many things within the store, such as jewelry, to increase their value. After learning more magical skills and also how to enchant, he had a great business idea. He came up with this idea while reading about what was happening in Skyrim with the Civil War. His plan was to go to Skyrim to start a soul trader business. He would go around selling enchanted gear to those who wanted it. He knew that soldiers would pay lots of money when their lives were on the line, and even regular folk looking for some protection would likely be interested. Leaving his family in Skingrad on good terms, he ventured to Skyrim, but was of course caught on the border. He then finds out that he is Dragonborn, and while he will continue his path of obtaining, enchanting, and selling items, he will also seek out the College of Winterhold to learn more about magic and best fulfill his Dragonborn destiny. This character can also complete the Bard's College quests. Looking at the playstyle, I have sort of already outlined how most of it works. Upon entering battle, you will not need to cast any flesh spells because you will have 3 spells stored in Okado's Recital, which will activate automatically. This will cause you to have Ebony Flesh, Lightning Cloak, and a spell of your choice. In actual fights themselves, you will often want to avoid taking damage by paralyzing your enemies first and then soak damage into them using Destruction. You can choose whether or not you use staves or spells, but remember that your staves and also the scrolls you carry are very strong. A really cool scroll I recommend you try out is Gravisphere. This was the giant orange ball you would have seen in the video. Remember to also heal yourself with healing spells, even though it's not a main aspect of this character's build. If you come across any enemies in your travels, you will be able to neutralize them, and after this be sure to loot their weapons and armor to enchant and then sell. Of course, throughout your entire playthrough, you will make use of your teleportation powers using dimensional doors and magical anchors. Be sure to use a large variety of utility spells like those to open locks, and always experiment with new ideas while making a good amount of coin as you traverse Skyrim and master the arcane arts. For a stat spread, you're going to have 50% health and 50% magicka. 50% health will allow you to stay alive quite easily, and 50% magicka will of course be for all your spells. You're also not going to need any more magicka than this because you're using a lot of staves and scrolls which cost nothing to use. We also have no points invested in stamina, but this is okay because we can use our spell Long Stride, which makes you move really fast and will of course drain your magicka instead of your stamina. Actually, just kidding, because Long Stride is an apprentice spell and it won't cost you anything to use. The standing stone we've chosen for the Arcane Adventurer is the Atronach Stone. This will do a minor minus 50% magicka regen, but it will give you 50 more points of magicka and 50% spell absorption. With the overhaul, there is no Atronach perk in the Alteration tree, so you're not going to be having 80% spell absorption. 50% is still pretty good though, and with your magicka resistance, it just adds an extra backup drop in case spells make it through your resistance barriers. And that's all for now, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this week's build, and be sure to tell us what you think in the comments below. Do subscribe if you're a Skyrim builds enthusiast, and like the video if you think this build looks fun to play. The non-overhaul perk link we've made for you can be found in the description alongside our social media links, so check all that out too. My name is Michael, this was the Arcane Adventurer, and I'll see you soon ready to nerd out with some more Skyrim builds, Elder Scrolls 6 discussions, Fallout 4 videos, especially when the game comes out, and of course, Star Wars lore. Goodbye.